In this last lesson, we're going to step it up. Rather than doing a composite with two images, we're going to use three different images, combine them together, create depth, create atmosphere, create a new light source, and then adjust our entire image to match up with the atmosphere and the light source. And this kind of puts everything we've learned into practice and teaches you some great techniques for compositing that you can use in your own work. Let's get started. All right, let's go to File, Open, and I'm going to open the warehouse background JPEG. And the first thing I want to do is just paint out these skylights because I want my primary light source to be here and the light coming in from the right side toward the left. So let's go ahead and make a copy of our background layer so we always have our original. And then I'm going to add a new layer and we'll call this Blackout. It's not actually going to be black, but we're going to call it that. All right, let's hit B to go onto our brush. And I want to make sure I have a soft round brush selected. And then using Control and Option, I can adjust the size and feather of my brush. All right, holding down Option, I'm going to select this color and just start painting in these areas here. And make a brush smaller here. And that should do the trick. I'm going to take the opacity down just a touch so that we still see a little bit of the original texture there. Next, I'm going to just paint in some atmosphere and kind of knock back the contrast in the background of this image. So let's call this atmosphere. I'm going to go to my brushes, so B for brush, right mouse click, and then go down to my atmosphere brushes, and I'm going to select Advanced Smoke 01. And then select kind of a medium color that's not too dark and not too light, so something around here, and then just start painting. And essentially what I'm doing here is just knocking back the contrast of my background. And you can always overdo this and then just knock back the opacity of this layer. So that looks pretty good. And then we'll just take the opacity down to, let's say 80. All right, next we're going to bring in the skull. So let's go to File, Open, and we're going to open the skull head DNG file. And the adjustments on this already look pretty nice. We have, let's go ahead and just do this on auto. And I think that actually looks good. I wouldn't really adjust that any further. Maybe increase the clarity just a tiny bit, but overall I think that looks good. Our next thing I want to do is straighten this out a bit. So let's go onto our crop tool. And once we're on our crop tool, we can use this little level here and just click and then drag across in a straight line like that. And this already appears to be pretty straight, so let's hit Open. All right, next thing we're going to do is cut this out of the background. Let's go ahead and select our quick selection tool. That's going to give us the Select Subject button up here. Let's go ahead and see how this does. I actually did a really good job. We're going to have to clean up a bit at the bottom down here, but otherwise this looks pretty good. So let's go into Select and Mask. Let's zoom in here, holding Command and the space bar. And for this, I think I'm going to use the lasso tool because this has a relatively jagged edge. I could just eyeball it. I'm going to hold down Option so it's minusing from the selection, and then just get rid of the parts of the selection that aren't the skull. And I'm going to err on the side of digging into the skull rather than leaving a little halo outside of it. And I'm doing this in parts so that I can always go back if I need to. If there's a little error or something, I can always Command Z. Whereas if I try to do it all at once, I don't have that option if there's some little error there. And one thing you will notice when you use the lasso tool in Select and Mask is that the lasso is not anti-aliased. So you will have this jagged edge, and we're going to use the edge detection to fix that up after we've cleaned up our selection here. Now when you're using the lasso tool, if you start dragging and then hold down Option, it turns into the polygonal lasso tool. And generally, when I'm using the lasso tool, I kind of always have my finger on the Option key. And the reason for that is I can always let it go, or I can start clicking and dragging if I want to freehand. But I also have the option of letting go, and it won't close my selection. I can make a straight line if I want to, like this. And that looks pretty good to me. So now let's turn on our Smart Radius and add 3 pixels. Let's hit OK. And let's add a mask. And then by right mouse clicking here, I can say Convert to Smart Object. And then I can drag this into my main composite here. And we'll name this Skull. All right, and then let's place this. I want it to be right about there. And I'm going to do Command T for transform and just make it a bit smaller. So right about there. And then let's hit the check mark. And I'm pretty happy with that. Next, I want to add a shadow to the ground. As I mentioned earlier, my source of light is going to be these skylights up here, and I want the light to be shining this way. So my shadow is going to be directly under it and also over and to the left. So first, let's just make our soft shadows. We're going to add a new layer, call this soft shadow. And I'm going to go onto my elliptical marquee here and just make a selection under here. So something like that. And then we'll D to default to black and white so that my foreground color is black, and then use Option Delete to fill in my selection with my foreground color. So that looks good. And then let's add one under here as well. Again, Option Delete. Okay, so now we're going to blur these. So let's go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And I hit Command D to deselect because I want to blur the whole layer, not just my selection. So something like that looks good. So 33. And then I'm also going to do a motion blur. And I want this to be 0. This is just going to push it a little bit more to the left and right. And it'll look a little more realistic than a straight Gaussian blur. And pretty happy with that. Next, I want a shadow that kind of drops down and to the left. So to do that, I'm going to make a new layer and we'll call this Hard Shadow. And I'm going to Command and click on this layer. That's going to select the transparency, and then I'm going to fill this with black. So Command D. Option Delete, and then Command D to deselect. And then I'm going to do Command T for transform. And what I want to do here is hold down Shift and then make this kind of line up down here. And then holding down Command, I can skew this so that it's kind of going where my shadow would go. So something like this. And still holding down Command, I can make these line up a little bit better like that. Maybe push the whole thing underneath a little bit. So something like this. Let's go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. We'll Gaussian blur this a little bit. And let's also do our motion blur. And then I'm going to put this on overlay, and then I'm going to take the opacity down to 80%. I'm going to add a mask. I want the shadow to get softer or less strong as it goes away from the skull. So adding that mask, I can just make a gradient that goes from the bottom here to where the skull is. So just like that. And that's a relatively realistic drop shadow there. Now I also want to add a bit of shadow to the underside of this, considering that our light source is up here. So let's add a layer. We can call this Skull Shadows. And I'm going to clip this layer to my skull by holding Option and clicking between the two layers. And then I'm going to go on my brush. I'm going to select a soft round brush. And just with black, paint in where I want these shadows to be. So pretty much under here, like that, and like that. And then I'm going to take down the opacity on that. To probably around 60, looks good. All right, now let's take our chair. So let's go File, Open, and we're going to open this Melada JPEG. And I want to cut out this chair. Now I could try the Select Subject, but as you can see, it does not do a good job. So let's go ahead and use the Pen tool. So I'm going to go P for Pen tool, make sure it's on Path, make sure this is on Combine Shapes, and let's start drawing our path here. And as I'm doing this, I'm going to err on the side of being inside my chair rather than outside like this, so that I don't have a halo around my selection when I have it finished being cut out. One thing that I will mention when you're using the Pen tool, make sure you're not too zoomed in, because the more zoomed in you are, the higher tendency you will have to try to follow every little abnormality in your selection. You really don't need to, because this is going to appear much smaller in our final composite than it appears on the screen now. And I'm kind of guessing how this bottom foot of the chair is supposed to look, just because it's in so much darkness that it's really hard to tell. But it'll also be in darkness in our final composite, so I'm not too worried about it. Always think with your final composite as you're making selections, because if you know how the final piece is going to be used, you can regulate how much time you're going to spend on your selection. Having said all that, the more time you do spend on your selections, the nicer your composite's going to be. And when I do anything for a client, I usually spend quite a bit of time to make really nice selections. And if I go onto my direct selection tool, I can make some fine-tune corrections here, which is the beauty of using the pen tool for making selections, is I can go and actually correct my selection after the fact. All right, so that looks good. Let's right mouse click and say make selection. I'm going to hit OK and then add a mask to this. And I actually want to make another copy of this, and in my copy I want to delete the layer mask. This is what I'm going to use just for my bottom shadow. So what I want to do is I want to just select this area here that has that shadow. So just about that, and I'm going to do Command J to put that on its own layer. And then I'll take these, I'm going to make this a smart object, so I'll do convert to smart object, and then take these two layers and drag them into here. We can call this chair shadow and chair. And what we'll do is we'll link these. So linking essentially is like having more than one layer selected. So right now, if I select both layers and move them around, they'll always be attached. But if I link them, I can just have one layer selected and they will both still perform as if they were both selected at the same time. So that's what that little link tool is for. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to straighten it out just a tiny bit like this. And the light on this is already quite good, meaning the light is coming from this. You can kind of tell in the shadow here. So that's already working in our favor. Now, for the chair shadow, what I want to do is I want to put it on multiply, and then I'm going to do Command M for curve, and I want to bring up the white point on here until this edge here disappears. So right about there, we'll hit OK, and I'm going to put a mask on it, go to my gradient tool, make sure it's on foreground to transparent, and then just go where the edge is and kind of come in toward my shadow like this. So now you can see the shadow is just under the chair where I want it to be. And I do want to add a larger shadow similar to what we did for the skull coming from the chair toward the bottom left. So let's add another layer and we'll call this chair hard shadow. And we're going to Command click on this layer. That'll make a selection of our transparency. We're going to do Option Delete to fill with our foreground color, which is black. And then we're going to move this to where we want it, which is about there. And then I'm going to do Filter, Blur, Motion Blur. And I'm going to make my angle of the motion blur match up with the angle that I just put the drop shadow so that it's getting to where the chair is. And I'm going to leave it at 400, hit OK, and then just do it again. So if you go to Filter, right here, the top item in the menu under Filter basically repeats the last filter. So if I just do this again, you'll see it's more motion blurred. Again, more motion blurred. Now I can just adjust this a little bit. So right about there looks good. Then I'm going to put a mask on there and just get rid of the back shadow so that it's only casting a shadow here, and then take the opacity of the layer down to 80. All right, this chair is also a little too bright, so we're just going to do Command M and add a curve and just darken the whole chair. I also want the chair to be more of a green color. So if I go to red and just add some cyan, and then to green, add some green, and to blue, maybe pull that down. So that's a little bit more what I want. It's still a little bit too bright, so I'm going to take it down even more. And I mainly want to take down the highlights. So I'm going to take this side of the curve down to right about there. Let's hit OK. All right, next we're going to start bringing in some of our light rays. So let's go to File, Place Embedded, and we'll pick our first one here, Nuclei Textured Light. And let's just make that bigger. And I want this one to be coming from this here. So we'll just place that right about there. Bring our anchor point to here. And I can change this to screen so I can see what it looks like as I'm working on it. And then just hold down Option and make that bigger or smaller. I think right about there looks good. All right, then I'm going to add a mask, and I want to get rid of this little hard line there. So again, I'm going to go to my gradient tool and just go from the top of that down. And then here, I want the light to be coming from here. So there really shouldn't be much of a light there. So something like that looks pretty good. And then we can take the opacity down on this a little bit. And for this one, I want it to be behind the skull. So we'll drag this to behind the skull here. All right, next, let's do File, Place Embedded again. And we'll grab the next one, Textured Light 45. And this one's going to be our big foreground one. So I'm going to move this up to the very top. And then we'll make this bigger. And have this kind of coming in right here. So let's put this on screen. And I'm going to do Command M and bring down the darkness on this layer. So we just have hints of it like that. That looks good to me. Let's do File, Place Embedded again. And let's grab our next one. And this one, let's do Flip Horizontal. This one will just be a little bit of light coming from right here. Maybe like so. Let's put this on screen. And let's take the opacity on that down to about there. Next, let's do File, Place Embedded again. And we're going to grab number 11. And this one will be our light source from this right here. So we'll put that so it looks like it's coming from there. And let's make this arrive to our ground here. So something like this. And let's put this on screen. And then I'm going to do Command M for a curve and just bring the black point down. And the overall curve down just a bit like that. All right, and then on this, we'll add a mask again, do a gradient from the bottom, just to make sure we have no hard lines, and then also kind of bring it in a little bit so it looks more like it's just coming from there. Pretty happy with that. I kind of like the strong light on that right side there. Let's do File, Place Embedded. And we're going to grab the last one, which is just this textured light. And this is just going to be a little bit of smoke coming in on the right here. Let's put that on screen. We're going to do Command M, bring down the black so we don't have that sharp line. Just kind of bring down the whole curve like this. Okay, so we now have most of our atmosphere in place, but what I want to do is I want to add some color to it. So what we'll do is kind of tint them all toward a yellowish color. So if we go back into our curve here, what I can do is go to blue, pull that down a bit. You can see right away that's kind of giving it that yellow color, but I also want it to be a little more golden, so I'm going to add a bit of red to it, like so. And let's apply that same curve to this. So I can hold down Option and Command and just drag my smart object to that layer. And I can do the same thing again to this. And on this one here, we can also again drag this curve to that layer. And there you can see most of our layers now have that curve. Now this one here in our foreground is a little too strong, so I'm going to go in that curve and just adjust it a little bit darker. So So something like that. Let's hit OK. All right, next thing I want to do is add in a bit of dust and smoke. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's adjust the color of this one here as well. So let's go into that curve, add a bit of red and a bit of yellow, just like that. All right, now let's go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to grab the dust 16. And we're going to make this dust come from up where our lights are, like this. And we'll put that on screen, and then take the opacity way, way, way down. Really, we just want hints of it, so like 5% is good. All right, next we'll do File, Place Embedded again, and grab the flare, and the flare is just going to help make this light source here look a little stronger. So we'll put it right out there, and then Command T, make it a bit bigger, and just kind of rotate it so it matches the shape of that light there, and then blur it just a tiny bit. Something like that. So 7. And then Option and drag that over here as well. And maybe even over here. I don't want it to look like there's 3 suns, so I might take this one here and blur it again, so that it's just kind of a blob of light rather than light rays. So something that like that looks pretty good to me. And the next thing we're going to do is make everything a little bit darker, a little more moody. So let's add a curve on top of the whole thing and just pull this down to about there. The other thing I want to do is where the light is hitting this, I want there to be some kind of almost like the atmosphere around it is being lit by the reflective light on here. So to do that, I'm going to add a new layer, go onto my brush tool and select one of my advanced fog brushes. Let's do 04. Put my opacity on 100, but flow on 30. And then I'm going to Option and select kind of a warm yellowy color like this, and then just start painting right around where the light is hitting this. So just like that. And then we'll put this on screen. And we can take the opacity down. Just want it to be a hint of that. Like so. And I think also having a little bit of atmosphere behind this chair will help separate the chair from the skull. So let's go down below the chair but above the skull, add a layer there. We'll call this atmosphere as well. And with that same brush, I'm just going to paint a little bit of this color back here. Like so. And we can take the opacity on that down. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Next thing I want to do is add some balloons to the scene. So we're going to go File, Place Embedded, and select the red balloon. And we're going to have this kind of floating around. So we'll have one here that's going to be kind of close to us, and we're going to have one that's sitting like right where the chair is. Maybe one just kind of popping up right behind the skull. So let's drag this so that it's underneath the skull. And we'll make that one a bit smaller as well. One thing I noticed is that this has a highlight on the balloon, and that highlight should be reflecting this, not something on the left. So for all these balloons, we're going to do Command T and just flip horizontal. Command T, flip horizontal. And Command T and flip horizontal. There you go. All right. And I want a few more, so Option drag, make another one that's further in the background over here. Maybe even smaller. And then we'll do another one over here. Another one over here. And these should be behind the mist, so let's just drag these to below our atmosphere layers like that. And then finally we'll do one that's closer to us. And I want this one to be in front of the atmosphere, so something like that. And then finally we'll do one up here. That one we'll make even bigger. And this one we're going to make big enough that it would be out of focus. So I'm going to add a little bit of blur to this one. Just enough that it's noticeable. So let's say 12 pixels. Hit OK. And then I'm going to add one right here in front of everything. Make sure it's in front of that atmosphere there. And I'm going to make this one significantly bigger. And we'll blur this one even more. So it already has a Gaussian blur smart filter. So if I just double click that, I can adjust the setting on it. So probably around 50. All right, so now I have pretty much everything in place. And what I want to do next is color grade the image. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is add a gradient map. And I want this gradient map to go from kind of a turquoisey green color, something like this. And on this end, I want it to be kind of an orangey color. So something like this. All right, and we're going to put this on soft light. And right away, it gives it this nice green, but our reds are also being influenced. So we have this nice color harmony of the green chair and the red balloons. But it's a little too yellow. So what I'm going to do is add a curve at the very top here, go into my blues and just pull up the bottom. That's going to get rid of some of that yellow. And then I can pull the bottom to kind of counteract it and keep our nice green color. So something like this. And I think that's quite nice. Maybe what I want to do now is just make the green of the chair a little stronger. So let's go to our green chair layer and double click on the curve here and just adjust it a little bit more. So let's go to our green channel, bring that up a little bit. Just make this a little stronger of a green color, maybe a little more yellow too. And I think that nicely contrasts with the red balloons. I'm pretty happy with that. And next, I want to add a sharpening layer on top of the whole thing. And to do that, I'm going to add a new layer. We can call this sharpness. And I want to do filter. Actually, before that, I want to do Shift, Option, Command E. That'll merge everything into this one layer. And then I can do filter, other, high pass. Let's do 3 pixels. Hit OK and put this on linear light. And if I turn this on and off, you can see what it's doing. It's adding a bit of sharpness to the whole thing. And if I wanted to, I could double this up to make it even sharper, like so. And actually for this kind of composite where it has almost that classical painting feel, adding that sharpness actually helps to sell that illusion. And there you go. I'm pretty happy with that. I might just adjust the shadows to be a little more blue, something like that. But otherwise I'm happy with that. And there you have it. So there you have it. That's how you create atmosphere in Photoshop, and how you can take atmosphere and light and make your images more dramatic, give them more depth. give them a different atmosphere or mood. And all these things you can apply to your own projects, your own photography, your own composites, or your own digital art. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I have included a few bonus YouTube episodes which also cover other techniques on atmosphere and light which are relevant, and you can watch those if you would like. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.